Hey friends, I was feeling a little melancholy. Anybody feeling a little melancholy with all the stuff going on lately? And I decided, why not sit down and do some stamping? And why not try a video while I stamp? So let's see how this goes. I had made a card with this Tailored Expressions stamp and stencil combo a couple days ago, and it just really made me happy. I did it, and you can see that it's fireworks background, stamp, and stencil. So there's a rubber stamp background, and then there's 2-layer stencil. And I didn't get a chance to use it to make a patriotic card, and I was kind of bummed about that because I really like this. And I saw in the Tailored Expressions fan group on Facebook that a couple people had done it in other colors, and I thought, well, yeah, that's absolutely perfect. So that's what I decided to do. So I'm gonna make a card with you right now with this set in other colors, and I'm hoping that I can maybe share a few tips and tips and tricks along the way. I've been stamping for about 25 years, so I have a trick or two up my sleeve. So we're going to start with the background stamp. You can see that it's red rubber, which is awesome. And I'm going to start with Tailored Expressions Cookie Monster ink. Now what I'm first going to do with a background stamp in the Misty, when it covers your whole card, it's hard to know, it can be hard to know where to put the cardstock. So this is the way I like to do it. It's even more important if you have a pattern that needs to line up in a straight way. This one not so much, but I just go ahead and stamp it, on the grid paper in the Misty. Doesn't have to be a great impression, you just need to be able to see it. If this had a really particular pattern, then I could really line it up. With this one, it doesn't have a major pattern to it. So, but I can see where the big stars are, and I can see where the edge of the design is, and I can make sure that my paper is within that. The next thing I'm going to do, now you could try to put it in the corner. I don't really see the point in that at this point, because no matter what, with a background stamp, you're going to have to put some adhesive on the back of this piece of paper to keep it in place while you stamp it multiple times. So I just use this mono removable adhesive and just put a couple little strips of that down, and then line up my cardstock within the image that you see stamped down, and then I just stick that there. So that will keep my cardstock in place. I'll almost always want to make at least 2 impressions. So although the rubber does make a really good impression, and sometimes you don't 100% need it, but especially with a background stamp, it can be a little hard to get every single part of it. So let's rub that down there. Open that back up, and it's a really pretty good impression, but just to get it even more, I will ink it and stamp it one more time to get it a little more definition, a little darker. And ink on my finger, nice. And here we go. Okay, great impression. So this is just the very background piece of this pattern, is these little stars and dots. So now I'm going to put my Misty aside. Okay, the next tool that I'm going to use is my Wendy Vecchi Ranger Make Art Station. I absolutely love using this for stenciling. I'm going to show you why. But I want to show you the whole thing first, because I always put down a piece of scratch paper. You can ink right on here, but these white lines, if you clean it with certain things, they will rub off. So I just prefer to take a piece of copy paper, typing paper, printer paper, and put it down on my surface first. Then I put down my card that I'm working on. And now we're going to come in with the stencils. Now, it's a 2-piece stencil, and the way that you have them the right way, I don't know if you can see, but it actually says Tailored Expressions, and that's why you know it's right side up. And then over here, they're numbered pieces 1 and 2. I honestly don't see what difference it makes. You can use them either one first, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to use one first. So the thing that you're gonna do, and again, I don't know if you can see this on camera because it's very faint. Can you hear in the background? That's my macaw beaker. I share my stamp room with my 2 macaws, so you might hear them making little noises. It's not a monkey, it's a macaw. So I don't know if you can see, but the stars, I'll put it down, in the middle of the burst, there's stars that match exactly with the stars on this background. And so it's on both stencils, so that's how you line this one up. And it's pretty easy. Now, here's why I love this Make Art Station. It's got these magnets. They're very strong, but they're not like Misty magnets where they get stuck together and they're all crazy. They have this foam on the back, so they're like soft release. And while I adore Pixie Spray as much as the next person, I also love to not use Pixie Spray. And honestly, these magnets hold very strong. I don't need to use any purple tape, although I have some here. You can just use the magnets. And it's just so easy. There's not peeling tape up. There's not Pixie Spray all over everything. It's super simple. Okay, so I have decided, I use Cookie Monster ink for the background. And so I thought it would be cool if the fireworks all had some Cookie Monster ink toward the middle of them, the bursts, so they seem to be coming out from that Cookie Monster star. So I'm going to just use 3 colors. I'm going to use Cookie Monster, I'm going to use Lemon Meringue, and I'm going to use Lollipop. And the reason I chose those is because the Lemon Meringue and the Cookie Monster make a really pretty green, and the Lollipop and the Cookie Monster make a really pretty purple. So it's like you're using more colors than you really are by doing a little bit of blending. I am going to start with the Lemon Meringue. And the other thing that I have here is you could just use Post-it notes. I have some masking paper that comes on a roll. I just cut a couple pieces in case I want to, put that around as I'm going. I'm not really super concerned about it, but okay. I have my brushes here. I just knocked them all over. Awesome. Let me just get out the 3 that I need. I just knocked them over. Okay, so I have my Taylor Expressions blender brushes, and so I'm gonna start with the Lemon Meringue. And what I want to do is I want the Lemon Meringue to be on the outer edges of this burst, because I'm going to put the Cookie Monster on the inside. And I really could have just done the Cookie Monster first, but I feel like I like to do the lighter color first so I don't get the Cookie Monster all over my yellow brush. So I'm going to do that one, and then I'm going to come down here, I think, and do this one and just blend some. And I'm not super concerned if it gets on another one of the bursts. I mean, I want them to all look blended and stuff, so it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and do this one in the yellow. Okay. And this goes really pretty fast. Okay, then I'm going to come in with the Cookie Monster on those 3 and do the Cookie Monster more in the center. And blend, I want to make sure that it does blend over that lemon so that at the tips they're lemon, but in the middle they're green. And I'm hoping at one end they might be a little bit of the blue. So, you know what else I want to do? I'm going to wipe my stencil off so I'm not getting so much of that ink in my brush. Okay, so here we go. So now just swirl right around the middle. Right around the middle here. And you see how that forms a really cool green color, and it just blends out to that yellow, which I really like. Okay. I'll do the same thing on the others with the Lollipop ink. Let me wipe this off. I tend to be a pretty slow stamper. Like, I don't know, if I'm really enjoying making a card, it probably will take me minimum of an hour. I don't know about you, how long it takes you. I'm trying to hurry. right now because I personally, the other thing is, I hate to admit this, but I don't have tons of patience watching videos, crafting videos. They have to be short for me to watch them, other than maybe Jennifer Maguire being super informative about something. I might watch her a little longer, but really, don't have tons of patience for watching videos. So I'm trying to keep this one from being super long, but I can't make any promises. Okay, so coming in and adding lollipop to the edges of all of these last three. Okay. I don't know about you. I've never felt like I'm a great colorist. So although I've taken a Copic class and I certainly use Copics, and I even love to use watercolor, and I do hope at some point to actually take a watercolor class and learn more about that. I've never felt like I'm great at that, or that I ever really will be. So some people say they color to relax. I don't really find that type of coloring super relaxing because I don't feel like I'm great at it. However, when this ink blending thing started, oh my goodness, this was just right up my alley. I loved combining different colors together. To me, everything about ink blending is relaxing, whether it's just blending a background or using stencils. I never thought as a stamper that I would love stencils like I do when they first started coming out. I mean, to be honest, stencils, what the heck? But I have found that I just adore them. They're just so easy to play with. And as long as you know not to mix colors that are going to turn muddy and brown, as long as you know your basic, color, then you can play with all sorts of combinations and they all look great. I gotta say the Cookie Monster Lollipop is always one of my favorites to blend with because I love Cookie Monster, I love Lollipop, and I love the violet color that it creates in between. Okay, so that is good for layer one. Keep in mind, there's a whole other layer of bursts. I have off to the side here, I have a pan of soapy water and I just throw my stencil in there. It's not that big of a deal, it's just ink, but later if I use paste or something on it, you want to be able to throw that in right away. So that's even cute as it is, but wait until we put the second layer on. And again, line up those stars. Really easy. And put our magnets back on. And so I decided for the second layer, since I already did a lot of blending, I'm just going to use a single color on each one. So I'm on the blue and yellow ones, I'm just going to use the blue, the Cookie Monster. And on the other ones, I'm just going to use a Lollipop because there's plenty of color blended there. So this should go pretty fast. I mean, I probably wouldn't go quite this fast if I was not on video because, like I said, I find this blending relaxing and I'll take my time doing it, but hoping to get some of you through this whole video maybe, so I don't want to take too much time. But it does blend quite quickly and easily. If you don't have the Tailored Expressions blender brushes, I can't recommend them highly enough, honestly. I've had them for a year. I've only actually washed them, like washed them once. Normally what I do is I just take this microfiber cloth. If I was going to switch to like a different shade of blue, I would just wipe it off like this. And that's enough. They finally got so inky after probably about maybe 2 months ago. I finally washed them with just a little bit of Dawn dishwashing liquid and warm water. And then they were good as new. Okay, so there's our Cookie Monster. And again, wipe this stencil off a little bit. You know, I guess you don't have to do that, but it does help. Get some of the ink off of the stencil helps as you move along to different colors to not get everything really muddy. So I'm going to come in with Lollipop and finish these 3 bursts. And then what I'm going to do once I have these colored, they would actually be beautiful just like this, but I don't feel like leaving well enough alone. So I am going to then add some Nuvo Glimmer paste. Because I absolutely love that stuff, and how can you not use them on fireworks? I also have some other fun ideas for how to get glimmer and shimmer and glitter on these bursts. But for right now, I'm going to show you how to do the glimmer paste. Okay, good job. All right, put these aside. And again, now this is where you really do want to try to clean your stencil off, because this ink is going to get in your glimmer paste as you're wiping it. You're going to see some of it won't come off because the last time I used the glimmer paste on this, I totally thought I cleaned this really good with a toothbrush, and I didn't realize until after it was totally dry. Oh, nuts. It's okay. It's okay. Not a big deal. More being too hard. It's really easy to put the stencil right back in place, so it's not a huge deal that I just did that. I discovered after after it was dry last time that I actually didn't clean it as well as I thought I had, and so there's like glimmer paste kind of all, like dried glimmer paste kind of all over it, and that's what's holding onto the ink right now, is that dried glimmer paste. But okay, so, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really care that there's glimmer paste on there. As long as it's not affecting the ability to stencil, I don't really care. It's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in this Nuvo Glimmer Paste. And this is the spatula that I prefer to use. It's Viva Decor. And I think now they've changed it. It has white, the package of these has white handles. I know that a lot of people, including Taylor, prefer this newer Nuvo spatula that is silicone. And I've tried both. I just really like the Viva Decor better. I feel like I have more control over it. It's, you know, harder, whatever. Because it's not silicone though, you know, you do have to get the stuff off of it right away or it will dry in there. Okay, so bring my Nuvo paste. Now what you're going to see in here, there's a little bit in the edge of the jar that's pink. And the reason is because I did another project like this, and when you scrape it off, it has pink in it. And you could just throw it away. I hate to do that though, and I knew I was going to do another project really soon, so I just put it inside of the side of the jar, and I left it on its side so it didn't migrate down. And I'm going to put the pink on the pink parts of this project. Often my glimmer paste is pink or purple because I use pink most of the time. So I'm just going to reuse it here because I didn't want to waste all of it. And then I'll go back in and get the more clean stuff to go over the blue. But you could just, when you wipe it off and it has that color to it, you could just throw it away. It's going to happen. Don't cry over it. It's just a craft supply. Sometimes I think we get a little too caught up in our supplies and them being perfect, and also I know we don't want to waste stuff, of course, but you have to let yourself play with stuff, and you have to let stuff get messy, and you have to be willing to throw something away when it doesn't work out, or something like this when there's extra and has too much color in it. Like now I'm gonna throw that much away because I've already saved it once. So let me grab a paper towel. But see, you can see with this particular spatula how I just have a lot of control with it. I just feel like I have so much more control with this one than I do with the silicone one. And also see how narrow it is. You can get way down into the jar really easily and take out small amounts. And it scrapes off really nicely. So you got to find the tools that work best for you. And I will often try tools that, you know, someone else has recommended. I always want to try the new stuff, and sometimes I love it. And sometimes I go back to something tried and true. Okay. I think that's good. Okay, wipe this off. And right away, I'm going to grab this stencil off of here, and I'm going to throw it in my soapy warm water. And then I'm going to try and wipe this off my hands. Okay. Close this up. That's another thing, is you don't want to leave this open. It will start to dry out. So, of course, it won't close on me right now. Okay. So, can you see the sparkle? Now, it's still wet, so it's going to take probably, I don't know, this glitter paste doesn't really take that long to dry. Maybe 30 minutes, maybe 45. Not a super long time. But I just think that was so pretty and so sparkly. So I'm going to put that aside. I have another one that I already did that's dry right here that we can work with. And I'm also going to get rid of this scratch paper that has the glitter paste on it. I don't need to be getting that all over the place. And we're going to move on to sentiment. So I think that this set right here, hand lettered sentiments, works so perfectly with these bursts, these fireworks. And I die cut one a little bit earlier. Oh, here it is. I die cut this Choose Joy already to use on one of these cards. But I think that right now I'm going to do Happy Birthday. I did Happy Birthday the other day and it was perfect. So I'm going to do that. I want to give you a little tip on this set. It has Cordain dies. And when I first got the Cordain dies, I kind of wanted to tear my hair out because if you look at them, yeah, can you tell what word that goes with? Like, good luck. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And so I spent some time just stamping them out and matching up what goes with what. And then I actually marked them. So like this one, I just took a Sharpie and I wrote HB for Happy Birthday. And then I put an arrow, and that means that's the direction that goes up. So now I did this on all of them. I just put the initials of what the sentiment is and an arrow for the top, so that when I do want to stamp and die cut these, it's now very easy. I'm not scrambling trying to figure out which way does this thing go and tearing my hair out. So let's get Happy Birthday to you. Let's get our Misty back. Okay. And take that out. Clean it later. Okay. Happy birthday to you. Do I have some white cardstock here that I can stamp that on? Grab a piece from over here. Okay. So I'm going to die cut this, so it doesn't need to be straight or anything. The only thing I really care about is I'm going to stamp it more than once, so I do need it. I do need the paper secured. But so what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to stamp it in Cookie Monster. And stamp it a couple times. Actually, I'm going to do one more. I really want it to be bold. I had some black ink on here and I didn't clean it very well. Okay. There we go. Okay. Then I am going to just wipe that stamp off a little bit. One of these chamois that's damp. And I'm going to stamp it in Versamark. that twice just to make sure it gets plenty of ink. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with Tailored Expressions Diamond embossing powder so that it's like a clear powder with some sparkle. Let me get this out of here. Since our fireworks are sparkly, I thought it would be pretty to have this have a little sparkle to it. Now, you know, I didn't use any kind of a powder tool or whatever. Yeah, with clear powder and sparkly powder, I don't usually find that I need to use the powder tool. I know some people use it all the time. I don't find it necessary. Okay, and now I'm going to heat emboss this. So I hope the sound of the heat embossing gun doesn't drive you insane. I like to take a pair of tweezers and hold it down. I hope you can see on camera it's getting really sparkly. So it should come close to matching the sparkly burst on the card. So you can see there. Okay, so we're going to die cut this. And like I said, I have an arrow that shows that that's up. So right away, at least know which orientation. So you just have to fuss with it a little. These really cut pretty amazingly as far as, you know, cutting out the sentiment. And I'm just going to put a couple pieces of tape on it. This is another thing. I don't know how people ever live without this. This is Scotch removable tape. I have been using this for probably, I don't know, as long as die cutting, as long as I've had a die cut machine, I've used Scotch removable tape. And I know that people have, some people use washi tape and people go on about purple tape, but both of those will sometimes tear your cardstock. And I have never had an issue with Scotch removable tape tearing my cardstock when I put it through my die cut machine. So yeah, it's been around a long time because it works. And my understanding is that Scotch no longer sells it in the dispenser like this. So now you have to buy a refill and put it in a tape dispenser. You know, just a regular standard tape dispenser. But I absolutely can't be without it. And it works like an absolute dream. So that is a definite recommendation for me if you don't have some. Okay. Let's get this out of the way. Okay. And I actually have a Gemini Junior. And to be honest, I use that more than I use my Big Shot now. But you can see the Big Shot, this is how these dies cut fabulously. It just takes a little picking those out. See how cute that's going to be. And then I have two possibilities. So I have Lollipop with a Cookie Monster layer. Oh, it looks like I might have to trim this card panel down just a touch. Or I could do the opposite. Could do Cookie Monster with the pink layer, which is what I think I will do. So this is just gonna have to be trimmed down. I think the other panel that I did was the right size. Let's see. So it's not 100% dry, but it's pretty close. That is pretty darn close to dry, and that was quick, right? So that's nice. That actually dries really fast. So this is just gonna go right on here. Yep, I have to trim that panel just a tiny bit. And then this will get popped up on foam tape, and there will be the finished project. So thanks for joining me. I'm very new at doing videos, and so if you stuck with me, congratulations and thank you. And yeah, I hope when you feel a little bit melancholy or blue that you will head to your stamp table and make something bright and fun. Thanks. See you later.